The scapular push-up is a fundamental straight arm scapular strength movement, which essentially means it's always performed with a straight arm and is performed in the classical push-up position. The classical push-up position will have your shoulders stacked minimally above your wrists and not behind. If the shoulders are behind the wrists, it means that the load is reduced. This is not the goal of the movement. In this particular movement, we keep the feet together, the knees are locked, keep the glutes activated, and the ribs down. Ribs down essentially means my abdominals, the actual rectus abdominals, are activated and it keeps the ribs from flaring upward. It also helps prevent undesirable rounding or arching in the lumbar spine. We have this action of activating the abdominals, and we work with the visualization of elastic bands here closing to then bring you into posterior pelvic tilt. It doesn't have to be crazy, but we want a neutral lumbar spine throughout. We most certainly do not want any arching in the lumbar spine. Bring yourself into the position. The hands are shoulder width apart. If you're not sure where shoulder width is, you draw the line with your fingers here from the shoulders straight forward, placing the fingers on the floor, and that is your setup position. From the beginning position of the scapular push-up, I'm all set, the knees are locked, I'm activated here, the ribs are down, the shoulders are stacked and minimally above the wrists. I instigate by pulling the shoulders backwards and keeping them down, making sure they don't elevate in the bottom position. This can be a huge challenge in the beginning. If you don't have neural drive in your scapula, or limited neural drive, it basically means there's not much information there, so you may not even be able to touch the shoulder blades together in the bottom position. If this is the case, you should practice on the knees until you're sure, with the assistance of a friend or from a video, that the shoulders are touching together between the scapular blades. As I come down, I squeeze the shoulders together just for a moment, and then I push straight back up as much as possible. Now, the wings of the scapula have now disappeared into the upper back. This is what we're looking for. An incomplete scapular push-up would look like this if I come up and it stops just here, because there's more. And there's more. And there's actually more. Be wary that you're not overly rounding in the upper back. It is not a full upper back rounding. It's just a secured structure for the scapula, in which the lats, the pecs, and the serratus anterior are all coming into play to help solidify that structure. From the front, a complete retraction should look like this. Shoulder blades touch together in the bottom position, just holding for a moment, pressing all the way up. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Now we are there. With regards to your global form, whilst we have a straight line going through the body, also feel that coming out through the top of the head. The cue is to keep the neck long. Imagine you're pushing outwards. So as I come up into the top position, I make sure I'm not tucking the chin or I'm not looking forward, and I stretch the top of the neck out, making myself as long as possible. One of the other common mistakes in the scapular push-up, as well as incomplete retraction and protraction, is sinking in the lumbar spine or in the midsection. Normally this happens in the bottom position, and it looks like this. When you come down, the midsection moves down. Now there's two reasons for this, and combination is more common. One can be actual strength to be able to hold that position, but more likely it's patterning and coordination. Why? For the same reason that you might find when bringing yourself towards the floor, the elbows start to flex. It's the mind's false way of telling you you're getting closer to the floor through this scapular movement, but actually you're just bending the elbows and also slumping in your midsection. We have to disintegrate these motor mechanisms so we can perform what is essentially a very isolated movement. that is the foundation for many integrated and improvised movements further down the line. So I make sure in my bottom position there is absolutely no movement happening in the rest of the body. It's all happening just between the shoulder blades here. And if I work for a tempo of a 1 second down, half a second holding the bottom, 1 second up, 3, 2, 1. Down, touch, up, 3, 2, 2. Down, touch, up, 3, 2, 3. A common mistake would be, of course, this we've spoken about. The second is this, elbows bending that I mentioned, and this is how it looks. Elbows bending. Keep the elbows deadly straight throughout the movement. This is the scapular push-up. Make sure that you record yourself, watch yourself, look back and compare it with the original model to check that you're on the right road.